figure I'm stupid enough to make the mistake once, why not make it twice? Oh, let me go and explain this one. Well, as you saw in the last video, I purchased the gray Nintendo Switch, which had extreme water damage, which the seller didn't mention. I ended up having to step that case up to eBay, and eBay eventually stepped in and gave me my money back because the seller was not responding at all. So that was an easy open and close case pretty much. So I decided to go ahead and make the same stupid mistake again, knowing and not even recommending. I don't recommend you guys buy these things as is off eBay, and I'll show you this is going to be another prime example of why not. Now, I did want something broken, because honestly, for the amount of money they're going for anyway, even if you get a legit one that someone hasn't been into and stuff like that, I ended up paying $117.50 for it, plus the cost of shipping, which was another $9. So you figure for a few bucks more, I could have literally got a full working one, because they're selling for about $150, $160 pre-owned working. So, but that's not the fun of it. I wanted one broken so I can do a video of it. Hopefully this guy is actually still repairable, but I'll show you why I'm kind of pissed off about this one. And no, don't confuse it for this one, which I fixed in the other video. This one here, someone was inside of it, but thankfully he put all the screws back in the right spot, and this one turned out to be an easy fix. Now in this case here, someone definitely was inside it, and on the listing, and the reason why it went for so much was A, the box, and then B, also the fact that he said that no one was inside it, and that the only thing that it was his kid was using it, it turned off, and then that was it, and then he put it back in the box and sold it on eBay. Well, that's a complete lie and bullshit, because clearly someone's been inside this, and I'll show you how I know. See these silver screws here? It doesn't come with silver screws like that. If you look here, see those screws there? So there you go. This is why you don't buy off as is off eBay. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up, see how much damage was done to it, and hopefully we'll be able to fix it. If we can fix it, we'll fix it, of course, because that's what I want. I want something that is repairable, and there's also a couple little minor pry marks there, as you can see, and stuff like that, but nothing really major as far as that goes. Let's just see if we can get this thing working. So here's the first thing I noticed, and you can see there, that's disconnected. There's screws missing. There's screws missing here. There's screws missing on the shield. The only positive thing I can say right now is that it doesn't seem like there's water damage, which is good. I have to take the shield completely off and stuff like that just to see, but I just want to kind of show you that definitely someone was inside this. But only good thing is I don't see no obvious damage to it, so this one actually might be repairable, but we'll go and tear it down further and see what's going on. So I went ahead and took the shield off, and you can see there, no water damage. And there's no water damage on top, and the card slot looks pretty clean. And I looked at the charger port, I'm not sure you can see it or not right there. All those pins are good. There's no pins there are lifted out or shorted or anything like that, because that's a common issue with these. The pins end up shorting out and they end up taking out the charge IC and stuff like that, or the power management IC it's called. Here on this side, where you know, feed your backlight to this ribbon cable which goes here, that's all good. I mean, I don't see any obvious damage, which is a good thing, so I'm not sure how far did he get into it. I do see this, so he might have had this heat sink off, who knows. But I see this disconnecting. Kind of makes me wonder why he went inside this in the first place, so it could be for a whole nother reason. But I might go and put my power bank to it and see if the thing even powers on and stuff like that, and check all the ribbon cables before I go and do that. So upon further investigation, because I always check the cables and stuff like that before I plug it in, because I don't want to do any more damage to it than what's already done to it. And the first thing I noticed when I took this cable off, which goes to this board right here, I noticed this here is completely out in the middle, like it's bulged out. I'm not sure you can see it or not. That you can tell it's clearly not in correctly. So I wonder that's why it claims it's not powering on. I'm gonna go ahead and fix that and see if I can get this thing to power on. It might be just as simple as that. I just can't believe that someone would go through the trouble taking this whole thing apart and stuff like that and mess that up. But we'll see. So for those that are just starting off in game console repair, I'm going to go and give you a valuable pro tip And one of the first things you want to do, especially if you suspect someone's been inside the game console, this one definitely someone's been inside it, is always check the ribbon cables. Always make sure they're plugged in, because I see it a lot of times, especially with the DS's and 3DS's and stuff like that, where people will go and replace the hinge and screen and they always don't push the cable all the way in, because on these larger connectors especially, you have to get that cable absolutely flat, because if it's curved you can actually damage the pins inside these connectors. Now you got to replace the whole connector, which I do, by the way. But another thing that I see a lot of people do is they just don't push it all the way. They push it halfway in and then halfway out, and of course when you power it on, especially on the DS's and stuff like that, the light will turn blue and then it'll turn off real quick and stuff like that. And that's usually a sign that either the ribbon cable is bad or that the cable wasn't plugged in all the way, 9 times out of 10. So I always check the ribbon cables, and I did that on this. And what I found out was I went ahead and took the card slot out, because I noticed this cable right here, which plugs into the LCD panel, and then there's one here on the side, wasn't plugged in all the way. It was actually cockeyed, and that told me right off the back someone obviously either had this board out or changed the LCD and stuff like that. And the reason why I suspect someone changed the LCD, because you can see there, that's not perfectly flat. It actually has where you can see that glass is kind of sticking out a little, or plastic or whatever it is. If you look at mine, which is the good one that I fixed on another video, you can see that's perfectly flush with the case. It's absolutely not sticking out at all. So someone's been, and I just noticed something, that's actually a black LCD. I didn't even notice that. And this one has a green one, so definitely now I suspect that this LCD's been taken out or changed at some point. I hope it works, but overall I'm gonna go and just plug this into my power bank and see if this thing powers on, because I did test the battery, which you can actually just take this cable out here and it's gonna be the red and the black cable right there. The black's gonna be ground, the red's gonna be positive. You just go and take your multimeter of your needle DIN probes there, and you can actually test the voltage, and the battery's at 4 volts, which tells me the battery's pretty much fully charged. So I don't suspect the charging circuit at all. I think the charging circuit's fine, and being the fact that that USB-C cable is absolutely clean, there's no reason for it to go bad, because there's no water damage or anything like that. Normally one of the common problems with these is that the pin's bent, they short out, and they end up taking out the power management IC and stuff like that on these. But this is not the case. So I'm gonna plug this in, and I might suspect this thing might actually power on. We'll see. I hope it does. Oh, there you go. Wow, it was that easy. I'm actually kind of shocked. Yep. And as I suspect, that battery's fully charged. Oh yeah, and definitely someone's changed the screen, because look at that E there. They forgot to take off the adhesive. Oh man, this was a good one. And it has games on it and everything. Oh, cool. Maybe actually try to play some of these just to see if it works. But overall, you know, it does work. Now I am gonna log out of the console, of course, like that, and you know, initialize and stuff like that once I'm done repairing it. But console actually works. Now this particular console, I'm gonna have actually an update video on it, because I plan on modding it. When I mean I'm modding it, I'm actually gonna do lights and everything on it. Not only that too, I'm actually gonna put it in a clear case and stuff like that. And this is the perfect one to mod, especially since half the screws are missing anyway. So I'm gonna go and purchase one of those cleared, like, transparent cases and stuff like that, and I'm gonna mod this thing. Being fact, it already has what appears to be a new LCD on it with the film still on, as you can clearly see that E. It's gonna be a perfect one. I gotta take this completely apart anyway, so I might as well go ahead and modify it. But it works, so there you go. I guess this one actually is a win on this one. I was hoping for, actually, honestly, a more severe problem like charging IC and stuff like that, but I can always buy another one that has specifically where someone says the charging port's broken and show you how to replace it. And hopefully we'll get one with bad IC and I can show you how to replace that too. But this concludes this video for this Nintendo Switch Lite. I will do another video on how to actually change the casing and stuff like that on this, and it'll be a lot more professional because I'll do that one on the bench and stuff like that. So look forward to that video, but I got lucky on this one. So let's just see if the seller was even honest on the box being original, which he claimed in the ad. So I'm going to go ahead and check the serials, and the serial for the console is right under there. You can see the serial there. Well, that one's kind of blurry out, but they do not match. So Seller wasn't even honest about that, so there you go. So one of the few invaluable tools that you will need if you're repairing Nintendo Switches mainly, and if you're even doing cell phone repair and stuff like that, is you want to go ahead and get yourself a voltage amp meter that plugs into the USB port like this here. And the reason for that is that will tell you the device is even pulling current and stuff like that, which will help you troubleshoot, like let's say the charger port's bad or the power management IC is bad and stuff like that. This meter will kind of be able to guide you in the right direction pretty much. So all you have to do, of course, is just plug this into your power bank, which I'll do now. And you know, pretty cheap there, but I paid like probably about $6 for that. You plug your USB cable, of course, into it, because it's going to be in between the power bank and the device itself. And then we'll go and just plug it in, and I'll go ahead and show you. So let me go and try to do this while holding the camera, of course. Okay. And you'll see what the meter does is power out. See how it goes to 0.46, so it's slow charging right now. And once it fast charge, it'll drop down to 0, which is normal, and then it'll go to the 1.16 amps. Typically, that's what they charge about. Depends on how you know, charge the battery is. This battery is pretty much fully charged, so it's probably gonna drop down and stuff. But see, that's telling me it's pulling a little over an amp of current, and of course the power bank's putting out about 4.83 volts and stuff like that. These meters are very invaluable. As you can see, the LCD turned off, then the current dropped off. If it turns on, then the current goes up, of course, because the backlight and all that pulls current. Wait a second. That's kind of, oh, there you go. I mean, I thought something went wrong, but there you go. So these are a very invaluable tool in troubleshooting. Definitely invest in one of these. So I'm gonna go to the next part of the video, and I'll be right back. This is one comment I kind of want to address and stuff like that. And the reason why I want to address this comment is because I got someone that stated, for example, when I did the gray Nintendo Switch and stuff like that, that, hey, look, you brought it as is, you took the chance and stuff like that, and you're not allowed to file a claim and stuff like that. That's actually not necessarily true, and I'll explain why. Now, of course, if you go and buy as is broken, then of course you're going to get the item broken. I mean, that's a no-brainer right there. And, you know, of course it's wrong if just because you can't fix it to go and file a claim and stuff like that, especially the console was untouched and stuff. But then you have cases like this and like that gray Nintendo Switch. And what happened to gray Nintendo Switch, for example, and the reason why I filed a claim, I'm not going to file a claim on this one because I already fixed it, of course, and stuff like that. I'm actually going to use this in a upcoming modding video, which I'm going to go and put in a transparent case. But with the gray Nintendo Switch that I did a video of the other day, that was completely flooded in the lake, and the seller failed to mention it. And it wasn't like something that he couldn't have noticed. Just the stench off it would have told you that it either fell in sewage or like a lake or something like that. As soon as I opened the package, I knew that. But yet the seller failed to disclose that and stuff like that, and just pretended like, oh, it didn't power on and that's it. That's when it's okay to go ahead and file a case against an as-is, and normally eBay will go ahead and side with you. Just be careful though. Don't tell them that you went inside and looked inside it, because if you do, they'll consider it tampering, and that means the seller wouldn't be able to get the console, of course, back into the same condition that they sent it to you. Now they'll go inside with the seller. So don't mention that you went inside if you did take a peek to look inside to see damage and stuff like that. Just mention, hey, look, you opened up you noticed that it has extreme water damage and that you would like to return it. And then when the seller goes and tries to push you, let's say, oh, did you go inside or stuff like that, just be very vague about it and don't mention that. But I'm not telling you to do this to be dishonest and stuff like that, but there are dishonest sellers like that particular seller that goes ahead and takes advantage of the system and stuff like that, and will go and list something as is knowing it's water damage just so he can obtain more money and stuff like that. So there's nothing wrong with doing it that way. And in this particular one right here, I'm probably just going to leave less than desirable feedback for this guy, because it's not worth going to trouble trying to file a claim, especially for something that I repair and I plan on keeping anyway. And I already tried to request a discount for the damage and stuff like that, but he of course came back with the old, oh, I sold it as is and stuff like that. And I could tell this guy is a professional at doing this, because he buys parts from other stuff, so I can tell this guy's pretty much buying up Nintendo Switches, trying to repair them, and when he fails to repair, he's just throwing them back up there and selling them as is, like his kid messed it up and stuff, which is completely not true, of course. That's very wrong. Do not do that, especially if you're new into game console repair. Just be honest about it. If you went ahead and tried to attempt to replace, let's say, the charger port, for example, and you ended up lifting the pads on the charger port and stuff, put that in the description. That helps me if I decide to want to go and take a chance and buy it. And then also, too, the more accurate the description is, the more I'll be able to say, oh, maybe it has that problem, and I'll be more willing to take a chance on it and stuff, because now I know what the problem is. If you go and lie in the description and stuff like that, it's just, I'm going to end up getting it. Of course, I'm going to know, okay, you've been inside and stuff like that, because I can tell when other people's done work, especially shoddy work and stuff. And then it's going to end up being, argument, and then, of course, a case and stuff like that. Now you're out the shipping both ways. And then, of course, you risk a negative feedback and stuff like that. It's just not worth it, especially being the fact that even ones that have been inside normally actually go for close to the same amount. There's maybe a $20 difference on it. So what's the point of lying about it and stuff like that when you could just be accurate and get close to the same amount of money anyway? The only thing you lose is maybe making that extra $20, but is it really worth the claim? Is it really worth risking a negative and paying shipping both ways back, which then in turn you end up losing what you would have gained anyway? So just be honest. That's all it is. You know what I mean? So that's just another pro tip there. So if you're getting a game console repair, there's nothing wrong with making a mistake. Just make a mistake, learn from the mistake, and then move on, and then be honest if you do decide to go and relist it on eBay and stuff because you gave up on it. But this concludes the video.